All right, guys. Last article of the day. High costs and emotions are driving age-in-place preferences. This one also from HousingWire. Now, this addresses the generation that is ahead of us. One generation ahead of us, Will and I.
I'm not going to say my age. I'm still in the...
No, that's why I'm including you. I'm including you. I'm including you.
He gets all quiet during that. He's all like,
I'm including you in this generation. No
that
Riz.
was last week. No Riz.
No Riz talk. Facts, no cap.
Yeah, facts.
So this is talking about how more and more older Americans want to age in place in their own homes as opposed to living in dedicated care facilities.
Yeah.
So I made a comment earlier in the show about how, part of behavior for buyers coming back is behavior and math. This is straight up behavior. This is what people's preferences is. They're like, this is how I want to live the last great years of my life. And I'd rather, let's be honest, pass away in my house than pass away at some other place that isn't mine.
Yeah.
So I think behavior is driving this 100%, maybe even affordability. But this is going to create a lot of demand for in-home care services. I mean, there already is that, but I mean, it's going to skyrocket.
I mean, Andy, I'm living it. My father-in-law.
You're already getting care services?
Not me personally, but I did the ADU. I did the ADU, and I wish I didn't have to go through it, but I'm experiencing firsthand this situation. Father-in-law's in bed, and luckily I was able to do an ADU. They live there, and so now we can help, my mother-in-law and to help care for our father-in-law. But it's happening. It's happening more and more and more. So we are seeing it quite a bit.
What I wrote down for that is I wouldn't want to go to a facility either.
No.
Right.
And I mean, I think why would you? I mean, if you want to stay there, the last couple of years, your house is there. I get it. Maybe but if you're old, why would you want to move? And your family, if they could keep you there, I get it. There might be circumstances where it doesn't allow you, the taking care. They don't have somebody to look over for them. And same thing, it goes back to circumstances. If they don't have nobody to care for them, nobody to be there, to attend to them, then, unfortunately, the only option is to...
I mean, Brian, Andy, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
When he was at the hospital, right, you can only have 1 or 2 people in there.
Yeah.
So we'd have to go in there. The other person that was there has to get out because I have the rules and regulations. There's other patients that you share their same room with, and so and we're working, and to drive to a certain place, it makes it difficult.
Yeah.
But when they're at home, you're like, okay, you remember that? So they're pretty nearby, and usually your parents live near you. So the tendencies of you being able to visit and all that, it's much easier for you. So I think this makes perfect sense.
And I think it's a little bit more easier to actually control. Like, if you have family members, they could come instead of going to a random facility that's, miles away. But
I think part of it is there's going to be a split between people who need advanced care services for like Alzheimer's, dementia, special nursing, like in-home nursing type care. Some of those are available, of course, in your own house. But I will also say that from personal experience, with my own grandmother being in a dementia care home, her care required 24 hours a day, which sometimes the people that live with you in your house don't have the 24 hours a day. They're also working during the day. So you can have someone come into in-home care during the day when you're at work, doing your career to pay for the mortgage and do their care. But also, if someone does need 24-hour care for dementia or Alzheimer's, that's a very different situation. The lady mentioned in this article was saying that the preference to age in place is rooted in emotion and familiarity that's likely to be lost by moving to another environment. And I think a lot of that, and go back to the dementia, like the environment matters a lot. Like things are familiar. True. But also, if your physical needs exceed the comfort level, there's got to be another choice. Yeah. But I completely understand why this is the case, and there is a tsunami of in-home care growth to come because of this.
We got to remember, guys, what generation owns the most homes and has the most equity?
Yeah, the baby boomers. Percentage-wise, is baby boomers.
And so that's why I'm also saying, based on this article, we're talking about the inventory levels increasing.
Great point.
That's why I'm still kind of sticking with that number, the 750 and under, because of this as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point.
So more and more people are like, I'm going to stay here. Yeah. I'm going to try to figure it out. I'd rather have a caregiver come into my own home, which, again, we're talking about familiarity. It's crazy when my father-in-law was at the hospital. Like, it was just crazy, the stuff that he was saying, the way he was thinking. It was just like, man, what's going on?
Well, interesting.
That plays a huge role. I mean, you're in the hospital. Your mindset's like, if you're at a hospital, nothing positive comes out of coming to a hospital in that situation. So it's like that might be like, yo, like this is my last.
Yeah. So then we have them back home. Fast forward 3 weeks later, like it's like night and day. You're like, oh, you're back. It's kind of like, what happened? And now you're back, which is, it's so fulfilling that, and I'm just glad that we're able to do that.
Yeah. And it goes back to like what we talking about the podcast earlier with Tanya, that your environment does matter because you start listening to certain things, and whether you like it or not, it starts tainting you. So it's like, you, as much as you try to repel, eventually it starts seeping in.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Well, so I like that they brought this in this article because, again, that they're the biggest generation. They're the biggest ones that have the most equity ever built in any other generation thus far. So this was really good, and it just made me okay. We're in the right place. I get it.
Yeah, and there's always going to be a variety of needs. People do or don't do this. They do stay in place and age in place. And for some people, moving to a care facility might make their life more difficult. If you have a single-story house and now the care facility has stairs, or maybe it's got an elevator, of course. So they have service staff that's going to help you, but maybe it's just not as comfortable.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe some of these people have lived in their home for 30 years, 40 years. Like that's their forever home. And that used to be the way. Like you buy a home, you keep a home. Now, yes, we've been in the mortgage and real estate industry for a long time and have greatly benefited from people interacting and exchanging in the economy of real estate, such as baby boomers have too. But there are a large percentage of them that were like, you just buy the house and you keep it. And you don't ever do anything with it, and it'll be there for your kids. And it was part of the whole American dream, and you have leaving legacy and leaving inheritance and all that. And I completely understand that reason for why the age in place would be popular, or at least I'd say attractive. Yeah,
correct. I mean, a lot of those old tradition roots are just rooted right in there, and that's what they bly. That's where they stick. They're still the ones where I'm going to go in, I'm going to have dinner.
Plant my roots, nuclear family.
I'm going to still just put my $1 tip right there. Not realizing inflation, right?
And it's crazy how the difference of generations, where the young generation that we were speaking about last 2 weeks ago, we're looking at it like, yo, how can I get in this house? And then in a couple of years, max out my investment and take it somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Without altering or adjusting the way that my life is, because if my life changes, then I don't want to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Convenience.
So, exactly. And it's true. You're coming at the younger generation. They're not looking at long term.
I'm not going to build a family.
Everything's short term. Everything's like, how do I benefit from this? How am I able to keep this and then go on to my next one and buy my next one and not sell anything? That's actually, you're right. You bring up that point. Most young kids, that's where we're at right now.
And I give, I accredit to a lot of the social media things that they make it easier for you to understand, have these options, be able to learn more. But at the same time, take it with caution. Connect with an engine, somebody that's actually doing it, that's been doing it. That's going to be your best route. But I just feel that as a younger generation, we're more savvy in the way that we want to move, rather than say, hey, I'm going to be here for 10 years. Yeah, but those 10 years, I'd rather do 5 and get out, get a new house, do something else, invest on that. And I think that's going to be, a way that, real estate changes into the future and how people transact.
Yeah, good disclaimer. Good disclaimer. Make
disclaimer.
Sure you look at everything, because it's social media portrays it be one way when it may not be.
Especially to the younger generation, we do this day in, day out, so we're actually in the trenches. Like on social media, it's very easy to get swayed by something that it's going to be very easy. Do your due diligence. Nothing in real estate is easy. It takes a lot of hard work, dedication, and consistency. Risk. And even then, sometimes you don't get the results you want. But
because most of the time we're not posting on social media our defeats, our losses.
There's challenges every day.
I won again. Hey,
there's challenges every day.
Hey, I'm driving this Lambo. I just rented it, but we're not saying
social media doesn't know that.
Not saying it, but saying it.
We get it, but no, totally love this article. I think I'm 100% with it, and I agree with it.
I think we're going to see a lot more of this. I think this topic will carry through 2024 because it kind of is a transition, not a transition. The transition's already been happening, but there's more and more that are retiring every single day, every single month. It's like tens of thousands of people. And so I just think this is going to be a booming industry. We should probably actually have an in-home care specialist on Friends of Mortgage Heroes.
Oh, yeah.
So that'd be good.
Quick,
you know anybody?
Yeah.
We know.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug for our other show called Friends of Mortgage Heroes. Every Friday we have a show comes out with our friends in and around mortgage and real estate that have to do with real estate and the services that are provided third party, and we get to have some great conversations. And I think that we should have someone on here to talk about this. I actually have a friend who does care placements, and I will invite her to come to the show and talk with us about this.
There you go.